So today I'm so excited for the session, and you are going to learn a very important topic of a programming language, that is loops, as you have seen from the thumbnail only, right? So loops is something that is actually present in every programming language, and it is a very important topic to consider, and that is why I'm really very excited for today's session, right? So what is loop? So let's just take a brief overview that what is actually a loop look like. So basically, in general terms or in general language, loop is basically doing something in a repeated manner, right? In iteration form. You can say it loop, iteration, or repetition. You can say it anything. Okay, cool. So this is basically a real world loops look like. Similarly, when you are actually working on a programming language, you want some task to be performed multiple times. Then you can do two things. The first approach is you write those things in a hard coded manner. Like you want to say or you want to console hello world. Then what you can do is you can actually do like you can put 5 console logs saying hello world, right? So this is how you can repeat a particular task. This is the hard coded manner. But what if the problem given to you is like you have to print hello world maybe 1,000 times, or maybe 10,000 times, or maybe 1 million. There are multiple operations that cross million or billions of operations to be done. But that is not the case where you are going to write these many lines of code, right? So in these point of situation, you need a particular entity or a particular property of a programming language, that is loop. So loop allow you to reiterate or do something in a repeated manner. We will see it that how we can do it and what type of loops that we have. So I hope you understand that if we want to do something in a repetitive form, we will use loops, and that are present in mostly programming languages, right? So let me just open my text editor and let's see how we can write a loop. So before moving to the loop, when my VS Code is opening, so for a loop to be considered, we should mind 3 things that a loop should have. First is the starting point, like from where you want to start the loop. Like you at least have a counter, right? For example, you have to print the counting. Then you have a particular counter that you want to start from 0 or end at a particular situation, right? So that is the starting point. First thing, first condition is you need to specify a starting point. Next is the condition. Condition is what? See, programming language do not know the point that where you want to stop the loop. So there might be some condition. There might be always be some condition through which the programming language or the compiler will understand that you have to loop till that situation. Like my loop is actually working like it just add 1 in a particular variable again and again. So I should give it a condition like add 1 in the variable until it reaches 100. Then that makes sense. Otherwise it will repeat again and again if I will not give the condition that when to stop. That is why. So that is the second thing. You should specify a condition where you want to stop the loop, or a condition where you want the loop to run again and again, right? A particular condition should be out there. And the third thing is the increment, that if you want a thing to loop, you have a counter, you want that counter to increase so that the loop or the sequence will continue. Otherwise, if you will not increase the counter, it will just go and go on. We will see these kind of scenarios in today's session only, right? So these 3 things are important. First is the counter initialization. Next is the condition. Next is you want to increment or decrement the counter. We will see that only, right? Let's go to the script that we have written in the previous session, and okay, let me just remove it all, right? I don't want the thing. And if you're new to the video, then go and check out the previous videos where you will learn what are these things that we are talking about. And if you have missed any kind of video, then go and check out. Cool, then let's move on. Okay, so before starting to the loop, let me just tell you that there are a variety of loops out there, like for loop, while loop, for each loop, for in, for for of so many loops. Depending on which kind of condition, that you will definitely figure it out according to the time span that you spend here and working projects and working on the stuff. You will take decision by your own that which loop to be considered. But in today's session, we are just going to cover two loops, the two major loops that are available in almost every programming language. That is for loop and while loop, right? For each, for of, for in, we will see in later sessions because that is more specific to the JavaScript only. And whenever that those loops are being used, we will discuss over them. But in today's session, we are going to cover first is for loop, next is while loop, right? So let's just see how we can create a for loop, right? So to create a for loop, you just have to write for and then parenthesis. Cool, I guess. Okay. So for is a keyword and then parenthesis and followed with curly braces, right? Okay. So in the for loop, you are going to put all of those three conditions. First one is the variable. For example, I equals to 0. I just want my loop to start with I equals to 0, right? Next is from till when I want that loop to run. A condition. If that condition is true, then only the loop will repeat. And when the condition false, then the loop will terminate. Terminate means it will go out of loop. Hope you're getting that. Cool. Okay. So I want the counter, the loop counter to start with 0. I want it to run till I is less than 10. This loop will run till the I value that we are going to increment in the next condition. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we are actually doing the third thing for the loop to run. That is the increment part. That the counter that we have set, we have to increment it. And till when we have to increment, we have given the condition in the second part, right? So hope you're getting that. So now, okay, let me just do one thing. Let me just add that thing. That is the increment part. So first thing is very much clear that we have set a counter variable that is put to be 0, and that variable name is I. Next thing, we have to check that this condition is actually true or not. I is less than 10, 0 is less than 10 or not. Yes, it is actually 10. Next thing is actually the upgradation, or we have to increase the counter so that we are actually counting the loop number. So that is the thing. This is how actually a for loop actually being constructed in JavaScript and most of the programming language. And let's see that what we are going to do. Okay. So let me just console it. Okay. So before putting anything in the curly braces, let me explain what is a curly brace. Inside curly brace come. So basically in the curly brace, you are going to write the code that you want to repeat one again and again. For example, as of now, I want to repeat my code hello world for 10 times. Right? Let me just tell you that how it is actually working. So console log hello. Okay. So this thing will repeat 10 times. Let me just elaborate and tell you about that. Okay. Through this thing. I'm just going to open a Figma for the Jamboard. And I will tell you that how it is actually work. Okay. So I hope you are getting these three things in your mind. That is, it is actually how it is actually working. I'm just opening my Figma for explanation purpose. Okay. So hope it is visible to you. Yeah, it is visible. Okay, cool. It is taking a little bit time, but we'll be there with that for the learning purposes. That is pretty awesome. Okay, cool. Okay, let me just get this one from the previous session and write it once. Okay. So yeah, so we are actually working for loop, and we have put it few things like I equals to 0, I less than 10, and I plus plus. These are the three things that is actually needed for the follow. Pardon me for the handwriting. And this is actually the code that you want to repeat it. As of now, I am just going to repeat console log hello world, right? So how this is actually working? For a loop, this for loop, you're having a particular counter. So let me just put that counter to be I and given it value to 0, right? So when the loop starts, this variable is being created, right? This is the only one thing that actually happened for the one time. This is for the only one time, right? Next thing, the next step is to check the condition. The next step is to check the condition, right? Is the condition is true? Tell me, I less than 10, that is 0 is less than 10. Yeah, that is true. If that condition is true, this will go, the control will go to the curly braces part. Basically the code that has to be executed, it will go there only, right? So that makes sense. Okay, so then these lines will execute, but for our function or the program that we have made, the console log hello world will run. So there is one output screen. Let me just create that one. There is one output screen, right? There is one output screen. So when my console log is there, let me just write it once. Hello. Hope you are getting that, right? Don't go with the tone. Okay. So we are with that. Okay. So when the condition is being checked, it will go to the code and it see that the person needs, that the programmer wants me to console log hello world. So the output will show hello world. Okay. When these all things before the curly braces end, when these all things are done, right? When these all things are actually being executed, then the control will go back. Then the control will go back to this increment section, right? So then the increment section, what it does is actually increment the value by 1. Let's just check that we have actually been live or not. Okay. Okay. Okay, cool. So we are live, right? So yeah. So what we have seen that this is the part where we are actually initializing the value of a variable, right? So this is the part of where we are actually initializing the value. This is one time only, right? Next is the condition check. To get into the loop, we have to first check the condition, right? So this is the thing that we have seen. The condition will be checked, and if the condition is right, that is true, then it will go to the code part, and that is under the curly braces, right? And it will execute each and everything over there, right? After the execution being completed, it will go back to the loop and just increment that. Then it will go back to the loop and it will increment the thing. Increment the thing that we have seen that initially the value of I is 0, but after the incrementation, the value of I will become 1. Then after the incrementation, the control will go to the condition only, right? It will go to the condition and will check that the condition is true or not. Let me tell just pause the video and say that the condition is true or not, and the answer is yes, the condition is true. I is less than 10, that is 1 is less than 10. If the condition is true, the control will go back to the code and execute everything, right? After the execution, it will go back and increment the value of I. Now the value of I will become 2. Then again check the value and check the condition, that is 2 is less than 10. Definitely it is actually less than 10. The condition again check, the condition is true, it will go back and execute. It will go again and so on so forth, and let's just see that it will went to 9 and it will definitely go to the 9. Definitely I'm just getting at that quick thing, right? Okay, so now assume that the value has become 9, right? So after this thing, after the incrementation, the value become 9. So let's check 9 is less than 10? Yeah, that is true. It will go again back to the code, the for loop code that has to be executed. The code will execute and it will go back. Now comes again the incrementation. Now comes the interesting part. Just listen to it focusly, right? So now the incrementation completes and it will now 9 will become 10, and now it moved to the condition part. Tell me that 10 is less than 10 or not. That is very simple. No, that is false. So when this condition becomes false, then the loops will terminate. The loops will terminate. So after the condition gets false, the loop will terminate and the control go out of the loop and it will not come back, right? This is how actually loop works, right? Let me just open my code and write it again. So we are writing for loop. So where I equals to 0, I less than 10 and I plus plus, okay, and I was console dot log hello world, right? I was doing that thing. So let me just run the program and it will definitely going to show me the hello world, right? So that makes sense to you? Yeah, cool. That is making sense, right? Let me just clear this. Okay. So how this happened? I hope you have understood that it has run a repeat again and again till 10, and that is why we are getting the console log hello for 10 times. Now tell me, what if I am putting not hello world, I am putting I over there, right? So what is the value? What is the outcome? Okay, cool. So now let me just repeat, and yeah, that is the required output that will come out after running this program. So what happened is I am just consoling the value of I that you have incremented over there. I am just actually printing those values. That is true. That is actually true. What if you are putting you want that counting to be till 999? So this is how you can do that. You just increase the condition. This will do. So loops are actually important in these terms, that we are actually repeating something again and again for maybe for 5-10 times, maybe for 2 times only, maybe for millions of times. Then the loops are actually very useful. There are multiple applications that you will find after Googling, but let me just tell you that you can print the maybe sorry message for your map, or maybe you can actually print these counting, or you can print the you can say table is also a good example for that. For a particular number you can write that. So these are some of the practical applications. I hope you're getting that, and in duration of session we are going to, in the further sessions we are going to learn more about that thing only, right? Let me just tell you about while loop, right? So while loop is very much similar to the for loop. First we have to initialize the counter, next is to check the condition, next is to increment. Similar thing goes with while loop, but the twist come here is we are going to initialize I separately, right? Because it's a one-time process only, one-time statement only, right? Next is the while statement, the while keyword, and the parenthesis followed with curly braces. Okay. In the while parenthesis, you have to write the condition that you are writing in the for loop. You have to write the condition over there. So for example, similar condition I want to write I less than 10. Okay. And similar example for that, I want console log and hello world, right? This is the thing. But one thing is again missing, that is the increment part. So we will put the increment almost at the last of the code execution that we want. I plus. This is how we are going to write while loop. Very much similar, almost similar. And let me just show you that it is working or not. So yeah, it is working. And what if I put I over there? It will definitely going to work again. Yeah, It should work. Yeah, it is working. So very much similar thing, and you can actually implement in any language that you have heard of these loop concept, right? So I think with this note, I think we have learned about loops, the major loops, but still we are left with few special loops that are mainly for the JavaScript. We will see in the further session, depending on what we are going to implement them. If you have any kind of doubt, then go and comment down below. And if you have liked the video, then definitely go and like the video. And you, if haven't subscribed to the channel, then why not to subscribe? Then go and subscribe to the channel. Till then, bye bye, take care, and happy